this is where the home of TATE Liverpool is. This is how it looked in about 1975. TATE Liverpool opened its doors in 1988. So the first role it had for the city was regeneration. You can see that the reality of the Albert Dock, which is right in the middle of the city, was one of decline. It was about to be turned into a car park by the City Council. But there was a sense that something needed to change. And TATE was not on its own, but it was part of a number of forces which turned this space into this. This is the Liverpool Waterfront as it looks now. It is tremendously busy. It has a flourishing international cruise terminal which brings cruise ships from right around the world into the middle of the city. And galleries and museums and wonderful buildings are a core part of the waterfront. And TATE, as part of that, has led cultural regeneration for the city. But it's been a long journey, and that cultural ecology is complex, and in Liverpool's case, it took years to establish. It wasn't overnight. This shows you some of the changes in tourism in Liverpool over the past 30 years. Our visitor numbers have jumped from 19 million. In 2014, they were over 50 million. Liverpool is now the third most visited city in the UK for tourism after London and Edinburgh. And TATE Liverpool, as an international brand leader for culture, has played a big role in that change. Every year, on average, we now welcome over 600,000 people, and equally importantly, over 500,000 people overseas every year see a TATE Liverpool exhibition as part of our touring programme. We are a brand profile raiser for the city and for the city region and how it works overseas. TATE Liverpool is not owned by the city. We're not a city museum, but the city is a really significant stakeholder for us, and the role that we play for the city region is very important. This was especially true in the bidding process for Liverpool to become European City of Culture in 2008. And TATE Liverpool in that year presented a number of very significant exhibitions, including the Turner Prize, which had never previously left London. This is our Nathan Coley slide. I haven't liaised with my colleague Maria on this, but this is part of Nathan's piece for the Turner Prize when it was presented in Liverpool. And since then, the Turner Prize has gone to a gallery outside London every other year because of the success of showing it in Liverpool, I would argue. So the role of galleries such as TATE Liverpool for our audiences, for our place, but also for artists, I think is perhaps almost the opposite of what Nathan is saying here. I think we must help create an environment which encourages the extraordinary, if not always the miraculous, in a way that is appropriate for the time and place we are in. For TATE Liverpool, over our journey, that has increasingly meant working collaboratively, not on our own. So this slide shows our latest project with Liverpool Biennial. That's the UK Biennial for Visual Arts. And we together commissioned the artist Sir Peter Blake to decorate a real Mersey ferry. That's the very little colourful ship you can see here. In May this year, the Cunard shipping line had its 175th anniversary, and they brought the three biggest Cunard ships, including the Queen Mary, to Liverpool for special celebrations. The ferry, which is called a Dazzle Ferry, has gladdened the hearts of millions of ferry passengers. It's provided Liverpool with something memorable and unique, and it's something which it would have been quite impossible for either us or the biennial to do on our own. But to do it together, we could create something incredibly special. I think in terms of the role of the Contemporary Art Museum in the UK, in our current economic climate, we are continually balancing a tightrope between mission and sustainability. What do we want to do? Who are we doing it for? And then how can we afford to pay for it? It's something we constantly examine, both within our wider discussions at TATE as part of the TATE family, the TATE annual budget round, and an internal debate within our own management team. Because I have a different issue from some of my colleagues in terms of governance. We are one of 4 TATE galleries, and we are governed by a board of trustees who answer to the Prime Minister. So our programme at TATE Liverpool has to present everything to TATE standards. That doesn't only mean what we show, but how we show it, how we work with our visitors, how we work with artists, and very importantly, how we balance our budgets. TATE Liverpool is not autonomous. This can be very positive. Sometimes it can be tricky. We might want to programme something which somebody else at another part of TATE also wants to do. Who does it first and why is a frequent discussion. We might both want to approach the same funder for completely different projects. So at TATE we have to be very used to thinking in the whole, in the round, and consulting with our colleagues as far ahead as possible to get the best result for the whole institution, not just for TATE Liverpool. I think at our most fundamental, TATE Liverpool is here to show the TATE collection. We have to show that to an audience outside London in a way that for us it's about turning the legal ownership of a national public collection into an emotional ownership. Something which really matters to an audience, something which is inspiring and is memorable to a very wide demographic. We are also here to show the best of international art to a very wide audience. Our audience is often from outside London, and we need to encourage them to discover artists and approaches which are new, which they won't have seen before, but to present that in a really friendly and encouraging way. We're also here to enable artists to realise new projects, and that is important to think about artists at any age. This slide shows an installation by Claude Parent at TATE Liverpool last year, which he originally developed for Venice Biennale in the early 70s, but he realised it at TATE Liverpool in 2014. We also have a role as a gallery in international diplomacy, both for the UK and for our region. And this slide shows the cultural president of Mexico and the Mexican ambassador to the UK at our recent Leonora Carrington exhibition as part of the Year of Mexico 2015. Above all, we have a critical role as a place of learning, particularly for the 60,000 school and college students who come to our doors every year. But very particularly, I think it's important we offer activity for very, very young visitors. Something that is interactive, something that is fun, and something which specifically serves a local need. Over the past 3 years, we've worked with several nurseries in Liverpool to develop a collective of children and their carers, and they use the gallery both as a resource for their learning programme, but also they now programme our family activities themselves. They devise them with an artist and they tell us what we should do. That has hugely increased our audience, and it has changed the demographic of the families who come to TATE Liverpool. We also have a young people's group called TATE Collective, and over the years they've developed a lot of programmes for their own age group, and they also help programme some of the community work that we do. But in spring 2016, we will be handing over a whole of our temporary exhibition spaces to this group, and they're currently working out with us what they want TATE Liverpool to be for the future for their age group. And they are going to run that programme that fits their demands. It is not our programme, it is theirs. It's also something we're going to think we're not quite sure yet what it will be. So in terms of all the traditional way for us to plan a programme, this is quite scary. We still can't talk about it. This is the piece by the artists Bob and Roberta Smith, but it absolutely embodies the close relationship we have with schools, but particularly universities and colleges all over Liverpool. John Moores University houses the original art school for the city, and we co-programme with them. We share a joint post. The university develops the content of our public programme, but more specifically, they use the gallery spaces for teaching in. And that's not just for art students, it's for a whole variety of subject matters. I'm also part of a group working with the City Council to develop what we're calling a Liverpool curriculum, which is to think about the whole of the arts offer, not just visual arts, but music and theatre and participatory dance in Liverpool as part of something which goes through all Liverpool schools and is something which is very specific about growing up in our city using the cultural provision that we have to offer. I beg your pardon, go down this way. Okay. So to summarise, I think as a gallery in the contemporary world, we have multiple roles. We are key to development, international presence and tourism economy. We contribute to the knowledge economy through our collaborations. We develop programmes for skills development and for young people growing up in our city. Through our international collaboration with artists, we help develop practice and also support the wider TATE and Liverpool brands. We play a key role for TATE in showcasing TATE outside London in a different way. And we also work to make Liverpool a really fantastic place for people to live and to be an audience. So I think our role will keep on changing. It's developed hugely over the past 25 years or more, but being integrated with other institutions and with other ways of thinking is vital to it. In the future, we have discussed the fact that we think our role should be more like a public library in that we are open to everyone, we are inspiring to many, and there is a sense of ownership of us by our audience, local, national and international. Thank you.